In the following sessions, you will be provided with detailed information on the chemical label and safety data sheet. During these sessions, you need to make notes as you will be required to answer questions at the end of each section. Please make sure you have a pen and paper handy to make any notes. The chemical label will appear and information boxes will pop up that relate to the part of the label that the arrow is pointing to. Please read this information and make any notes you need to answer the questions. Remember, you can pause this label at any time you like. When the safety data sheet appears, once again information boxes will pop up that relate to the section of the safety data sheet that the arrow is pointing to. Again, read this information, make any notes you need to answer the questions. The first thing you will see on the chemical label is the signal heading. It is the most prominent indicator of hazard on a chemical label. It indicates the level of toxic hazard associated with handling the concentrated product and therefore the potential danger to those exposed to the concentrated product if it is used contrary to the label instructions. The signal heading is based on the poison schedule classification of the product. These schedules are set by the Commonwealth Government. The poison schedule is the standard for the uniform scheduling of medicines and poisons. Other than for Schedule 4, which are prescription animal medicines, the higher the schedule number, the greater the potential danger or hazard presented by the product. Signal heading words such as caution, poison, and dangerous poison provide plain English recognition words for the comparison of products in terms of the level of potential hazard they present to the users. For most common pesticides, they are as follows. Caution, or Schedule 5, are low to moderate potential hazards. Poison, or Schedule 6, present a moderate to high hazard. And dangerous poison, or Schedule 7, present a high to extremely high potential hazard. The trade names are the proprietary or common names under which the product is marketed. They may be protected under patents and trademark legislation. There can be many different trade names for the same active constituent. In Australia, there are presently over 500 trade names for the active constituent glyphosate. The mode of action is the general group of pesticides that the product belongs to. All products in the group provide the same type of control. With a systemic chemical, this indicates that the chemical is taken into the plant at the point of contact and once inside the plant moves to all other plants including the roots. For a contact chemical, this indicates that the chemical will not move from the point of contact and will therefore only provide localized damage. And for a selective chemical, this indicates that the chemical will only suppress or control certain species, such as a chemical that affects broadleaf weeds, like clover, will not kill grass weeds, like lawns. The active constituent is the biologically active component of the product. It is the only part of the formulation that is active on the targeted pest. All active constituents are listed on the label along with their concentrations. When the substance is a scheduled poison, the chemical name must be in capital letters and in bold face type. The mode of action group, in order to assist with the resistance management, all products sold in Australia are grouped by mode of action, or family groups. The mode of action symbol should be visible at the point of sale and be on the main or front panel of all pesticides labels, except home garden products. Mode of action labelling is based on the resistance risk of each group. The broad claims for use provide a statement which is a general summary for what the product is registered for. Unless the distinguishing name is sufficient to describe the product, the label must include a concise statement of the purposes for which the product is to be used. The net content should be specified in metric units such as kilos or litres. The name and address of the company provides information for the company responsible for the product, including emergency details. The Apvma approval number. This can appear on any part of the label. The Australian Pesticides and Veterinary Medicines Authority, or Apvma, registers a chemical product or approves a new label. An approval number is placed on the label. The number means that the product has been scientifically assessed by the Apvma and is safe to use when used according to label instructions. Registration can be checked by contacting the Apvma, and if a chemical container does not have this number, then it is likely not to be registered in Australia. Therefore, it will be illegal to use the product. Restraints. Restraints are found on some labels as parts of the directions for use. They indicate situations or conditions under which the product should not be used. Therefore, they generally start with the words "do not." It is a legal requirement to observe these statements. Spray drift restraints. Restraints with specific information relating to spray drift and what can be done to reduce the potential for spray drift and therefore off-target damage. Directions for use. This section presents information in a table format that informs the user of the product, where the chemical can be used, such as situation or crop, what it can be used for, that is the pest, where it is registered, which state or territory, and what the mixing rates are for different types of application equipment. Critical comments are information that may help in achieving the desired result. Withholding periods. The purpose of the withholding period, or WHP, is to avoid unacceptable residues of chemicals and their metabolites in raw agricultural commodities and food for humans or animals. So withholding periods are about food safety. Reentry periods. Reentry periods are about keeping people safe. It is the period of time that must elapse from when a pesticide is applied to when people are allowed to enter the area again without the use of label recommended PPE. Mixing instructions. This provides information for the preparation or mixing of a product, the order of mixing of different products, including additives that may be used to improve the results. This may also make recommendations on water quality required for best results. Storage and disposal. This section provides information on the correct storage conditions to maximize the shelf life and efficacy of the product. It may also recommend how to correctly dispose of unused product and empty containers. Safety directions. These directions are specified by the Office of Chemical Safety and Environmental Health of the Commonwealth Government Department of Health and Ageing. Personal protective equipment or PPE that is recommended here for either mixing or applying chemicals is the legal minimum requirement that is needed to protect the user. You cannot wear less than the minimum required PPE. First aid. This is the recommended practical treatment in the case of exposure or poisoning. It will generally state, if poisoning occurs, contact a doctor or the Poisons Information Centre on 1311-26. This training on interpretation of chemical label components should provide you with the knowledge you require to safely prepare and apply your chemicals. Remember, you can only safely apply chemicals if you follow all the recommendations on the label of the chemical you are using. What you have seen on another chemical label may not keep you safe if you apply those recommendations to the chemical you are about to use. A chemical label is the best risk management document you can have for that chemical, but only if you follow all the recommendations on the label. So always read the label. Now please complete the following revision questions about the label you just have studied.